When our department was brainstorming on what our possible goals would be and some of the things that we wanted to accomplish over the next few years, we decided to take a look at the college's mission statement and the key performance indicators that the president of the college has put forward to the faculty, some of the things that he wanted the college in general to work on. So we looked at the college mission statement of strengthening communities and transforming lives and how that might fit into the art history department's goals, which it really fit in well because we feel like the study of art and the study of human creativity does transform lives. So we thought that was a good fit. And then looking at the college's key performance indicators, things such as retention and transferability and some of the budget numbers that the college is working on, we thought a good attainable goal would be to increase our overall class size. And we've had pretty good results with maintaining a healthy class size in the art history department, but that can always be improved. So we set out some very specific tasks that we wanted all of the faculty to work on. We used the SMART goal plan, that it was specific and measurable, attainable, and so forth. And we set forth for all of our individual classes how we might be able to boost our own numbers in our department. And one of the goals that we decided to apply to our department was just increasing awareness of our classes. We put together some posters. We had posters printed, what types of classes we were offering. We put some visuals on there of famous artworks that prospective students would recognize probably and hope to elicit some excitement for those courses. So that was one way that we worked on that goal. We decided to work on our scheduling a little bit. We had a couple classes that were offered in the evening, and those enrollment numbers had been somewhat lower than our daytime enrollment numbers, so we decided to move that class to a daytime hour and boost enrollment that way, which we've been pretty happy with. We've also decided to increase our online offerings, which has required some of our adjuncts to take the I Teach Online class, but they were willing to do that. So that has also helped increase our class size.
One of the things that's essential when a student signs up for a program that results in a credentialing exam. In the case of EMS, there's a national or state exam that every candidate has to take upon graduation. Our goal is for every student to pass that certification exam on that first attempt. And so that's kind of an intermediate barometer. And then we also look at, was the employer satisfied with the students? And we survey our employers about 10 months out. So our first measure is that certification exam, and our true measure, even though they have 6 attempts, is do they pass on the first attempt? And then our second measure of student success is 10 months after graduation. We survey both the students and the employers to find out if they were prepared for the workforce.
The program review really helped us to evaluate how we are engaging our students and allowed us to kind of explore the enhancement of student engagement.
I think that the SMART acronym was really useful because we had the ideas of the goals. We had faculty discussions in our meetings, in our program meetings, about what kinds of goals to set. But the SMART acronym was helpful in editing the goals and making sense out of them.
Most of our students work out in industry currently. 80 to 90% of our students are currently working someplace, and their goal is to either get a pay increase, get a promotion at work, or even change jobs so they can further their careers. And again, we're very fortunate in the fact that our classes are very small and we get to know our students.
going through this process has forced us to meet together to actually write down what our goals are, so we all have a very clear understanding of what we're working toward. And then it's also enabled us to monitor that feedback. In our student evaluations, we have a question that asks students, why they signed up for this class, how they heard about this class. So we get direct feedback from students telling us that they saw the posters on campus. So we're able to track the success of our efforts and see if it actually is working for us to help meet those goals. And then as we're working through this process and keeping record of that feedback, then we meet periodically to look at that data to see how it could even be further improved.
As we began the program review process, we were somewhat lucky that we had just completed a program reaccreditation process the previous year. Faculty had been in the habit of meeting as a team, having regular meetings and discussing issues. We worked together to come up with some ideas and some goals. It was a brainstorming process to begin with, and then we developed more and more specific goals that we selected to include in the program review. This goal-setting process is basically a form of strategic planning.
The advice that I give someone working on program review would be to start early and brainstorm. The most important thing to do is just sit with your colleagues and think about what you want to include in your program review. When the foreign language department started its program review, we sat down and we brainstormed about what's going on in our department. What are the trends that we're seeing? And one of the things that we noticed is that foreign language enrollment was dropping at Johnson County Community College. So then we thought, maybe we need to start looking at the foreign language trends across the nation and seeing what's going on. And we noted that in the United States, foreign language enrollment has dropped dramatically. Then we decided to start looking at the trends within the area. We looked at Olathe, Blue Valley, and Shawnee Mission schools and discovered that enrollment in those areas was dropping as well. In Olathe, just before we started our program review, we saw that the Spanish program at the elementary school level was cut at the last minute, and that we thought might create a spiral effect for us, and then that might affect our foreign language enrollment. So with all those trends that are taking place across the nation within the area, then we thought there was a ripple effect, and that could explain why foreign language enrollment went down here at Johnson County Community College. Once we looked at the trends in foreign language enrollment across the United States and within the area, we took that information as a foreign language department and made some decisions about the languages that we were going to offer in the future.
My advice when working on program review about data analysis and then the goals that come from that was our department worked together, the full-time faculty and our adjunct representative. We had lots of conversation together about what we wanted in our data analysis and then in our goals. As we sat down to write the whole program review, our comprehensive program review, and put it together, we had all these conversations, but then we actually ended up dividing up different sections, and different faculty members would write particular sections, or at least write a draft of it, and then we'd come back together and do some editing as a group and put the final version together, and then everybody looked at that and we made sure it was all good to go the way we wanted it to. So it truly was a group project from beginning to end.